Hey everybody, welcome back to the KaitenCast, my horribly inconsistently scheduled podcast. I have a new guest with me today. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I go by Kei-otic, but you can just call me Kei. I'm a cosplayer, gamer, streamer in the making, and yeah.
So, your main thing is cosplay, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think from the beginning I wanted to have a cosplayer on here. This is going to be a weird note to start off on, but I'm going to do it anyways. So, I actually met you in person before I knew you were a cosplayer. Do you know that? Probably not.
Oh my goodness, when was that? I'm so
Okay.
sorry.
No, it's really random. I just like this anecdote. So I'm gonna name drop a few people. You know Canvy, the CS:GO player?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I'm friends with him, and I was talking to him about how I was trying to kind of be an online artist, and I talked to him about people who I went to high school with who like became cosplayers. He brought you up, and then I found out that apparently I had met you before I looked you up, and then I've been following you for like a year since. And yeah. One more time?
Oh, I said thank you.
Oh, no problem. You're cutting off on my end. Hopefully that doesn't happen on the recording. But I'm just going to play it by ear. So I guess I'll just go ahead and... I don't know what questions to really ask a cosplayer, though. Like, what got you into cosplay? Like, how did you start?
About in 2010, my friend asked me about SoccerCon, and I've known SoccerCon was in Seattle, but I never had anyone to go with, so I kind of just ignored it. But I always thought of it as kind of like an anime paradise, and I thought it was really cool. But I didn't know what cosplay was. And she said, "Hey, do you want to go with me? Do you want to cosplay together?" And I was like, "What's cosplay?" And she's like, "Well, I don't know. People just dress up in, costumes." And I was like, "Oh, so like Halloween, kind of." And she's like, "Yeah, sure." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, I'm down." And so at the time, I was like a huge Vocaloid fan. And since we were always going to be together at the event, we decided to do the Kagamine twins, Rin and Len.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was like, "Oh, hey, my other brother's going to be Kaito." And I'm like, "Oh, that's sick." And then so we get our tickets. And the second I step in, I freak out. I was like, "Oh my God, no way. There's anime everywhere. Everyone looks so abnormal. This is crazy." And then so ever since then, been to every soccer con except 2012 and 2015. For 2012, I didn't really just feel like going, and during 2015, I was actually in Japan for a school trip. Yeah, so I watched a lot of anime. I kind of fell out of games at the moment, so it was just solely anime characters. And 2012 was when I got into K-pop. And then I stopped watching anime for just a little bit, but I came back in 2015. At the time, I couldn't really make any cosplays because I didn't know how. I didn't know how to sew. I didn't know how to make any props. So I mostly just bought them online.
Do you think it's crazy that, like, you've been cosplaying for basically 10 years at this point?
Yeah, pretty much. It's just the thing is, I feel like I just started cosplaying yesterday. Yeah, till this day, I still cosplay. I just kind of think about it. I'm like, man, it's almost been a decade.
And you actually brought up something that I wanted to ask about. There's kind of two schools of thought I have about this. Would you consider cosplay like kind of a creative field?
Yeah, I do, because even if two people cosplay the same character, I would say part of them puts their own twist to it. For an example, not every single person that cosplays look the same. Maybe someone has a different makeup style. Maybe someone doesn't want to do makeup, and that's fine. Some people buy their cosplay, some people make their own, or maybe just even kind of construct it, buy some few parts at a thrift store, some on Amazon, and then some they make. And it's all kind of custom to them.
Mm-hmm. Do you normally just buy pre-made costumes, or do you make your own?
I actually do both. So in the beginning, I bought a lot. Now when if it's within my skill level, I'll make it myself. But a lot of thinking and cost goes into making your own. When you buy a costume, everything's made. Everything comes with it. If there's buttons, it's already sewn in. Everything. But when you're making your own, it's time consuming, and you have to pay for everything, the threading, the fabric, the buttons. Velcro, or just it's all the materials. You have to buy all of that and then make it. I spent a lot of time making my Elisa from Tekken, and that took a big toll on me.
Oh, you made that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's so many parts to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was gonna say a lot of cosplayers that I know and or follow, they a lot of them sew, which is that's a whole skill on its own, right? Trying to be able to make it look good, and then if you don't know how to make your own cosplay, even just buying ones are they get expensive, especially the wigs and stuff. I don't know. Would you say this is a like a viable hobby for like the average person? Is this something you'd recommend?
I think it's a fun thing to maybe test it out,
Mm-hmm.
but don't force yourself to like it. It's definite. A lot of people like definitely cosplay just because it's like really fun for them.
Let's use me for an example. So like, because I've had an interest in it. I attempted to dress up as people when I was young and went to anime conventions, but they were like, it was like really bad because I just like they're like closet cosplays. But then it's like also like I don't know how to sew. I don't think my appearance suits many characters, especially like from things I like anime, because like I have a beard and I'm a little darker. How am I gonna word this question? Like, do you have any advice for like people who might be interested in it, or like any like positives or negatives you've kind of learned through your experiences?
My thought process is like how much like do you like the character that you want to like cosplay them,
Mm-hmm.
and how like accuracy like the main thing for you. I always like recommend it to people because honestly, I just think it's like really fun. And like, how far would you go for, like for accuracy if it really matters to you? Like, if you were to cosplay someone who's beardless, would you be able to shave your beard? Or if your eyes are a different color, would you be able to wear contacts? Or if you when you get the costume, like I would say like try it on. Do you feel confident in it? Ever like force yourself to like be confident if you're not? It's always like, oh, I could fix a little thing here and there, or maybe I can style like this wig. And I would always say like just ask for advice, and then yeah, questions are like always like welcome from like cosplayers. Of course, not everyone is nice, but there are people that are willing to help you. You can always like commission people too. Like commissioning like a wig if it's like super spiky and you can't do it. Most of the time I style my wigs because most of the time they're not really like crazy. So yeah, I would just say like I would say like trial and error, just like kind of keep testing it until you like it. And if it doesn't like if you don't get it right like the first few days or so, just take a break and come back to it. I've
Okay.
always had like characters that I kind of like go on and off, and I'm like, yeah, I'll cosplay, and then actually, no, I don't want to cosplay. You know what? Maybe I will. Actually, no, I won't.
What's your opinion of like people who kind of get into cosplay as a profession?
It's not a bad idea, but I think it's like you have to be like realistic about it.
Right.
If you want to have it like a career, you have to make sure that it can support like your hobby, your lifestyle, and like as in really treating it as like your job. Like, can you make like commissions? Are you going to be like a cosplay guest? Like, you have to make sure you know what your goal is. Are you trying to like or maybe like expand as like a makeup artist too? I guess most of the people that I know who do it as a profession would maybe I say maybe like Patreon. That kind of stuff is really hard, and I respect all of my friends that do it because Patreon is kind of something that you have to like keep at it every single month because it's kind of like a monthly thing,
Yeah.
and you can't just say like, oh yeah, I do it like on the side, because like if people pay you and that's kind of like an expectation to actually produce stuff every month,
Yep.
and if you don't keep up with that, that's kind of like unfair to the customer. And there's also like cosplayers that like sell their prints like at like artist alley and stuff, and that's cool too, but you have to make sure that you're making enough money so that you can keep cosplaying, because I know a lot of people kind of struggle with finances, so you can't always cosplay when you want to. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into it.
Yeah, with something like using Patreon, you really need to like you need to set up kind of a business plan first. A long time ago, before Patreon was more, I guess, normalized. I don't know. The first time I ever heard about it, somebody told me that I should start one for my art, and I was working. I was working at McDonald's and going to school at the time. I didn't have any time, and so I made one without knowing what I was getting into. And I had two people who were my personal friends, and I didn't realize how fast months change, and I didn't know what I was getting into. I mean, obviously, for something like this, that's like not a traditional job, it's probably like a super good option, but you need to know what you're getting into.
Of course.
So, how many characters have you cosplayed?
Oh my gosh. Uh, if I were to like kind of estimate, I'd say maybe like 40 plus.
Oh my goodness. Who
That's just
are?
like including tests and stuff there too,
That's just what?
including like just cost testing,
Oh, okay.
not full on. Yeah.
So you said when I reached out to you, you said Rapid 99 you think is like your like main one, your iconic one or something like that?
Yeah, I would say Rapid 99 is definitely one of them. I would say Another one that was definitely one of my favorites was Arcade Sona from League of Legends. That one was one that I kept like trying to improve. Of course, I tried to improve Rapid 99 too, but it wasn't as like a big improvement, I guess. Like in I first Arcade Sona in 2015 for PAX in Seattle, and this was the first time I like made like my own like big prop. It was like her like music like arcade thing,
Okay.
and then I made her entire costume, and then I even like dyed like her wig, like the ends of it.
Wow, man, this is so
And
much
then
work.
yeah, I was happy at the time about like how it came out, but then over time, like the more like I wanted to continue cosplaying her, I was like, man, it doesn't look that good. So I like remade like the rainbow part. I remade like her dress. I remade like actually I almost remade basically everything, and I wore like a longer wig. And then I wanted to dye her wig again, but the same way I did it last time just couldn't work anymore. I used like rubbing alcohol and like Sharpie ink, but then the alcohol that I bought in stores anymore doesn't work the same way. I'm not sure if they just changed the chemical, but it just doesn't work anymore. And I was like, oh, all right, whatever. So I just like wore like like a Miku wig. I just didn't dye it, but it looked like a lot better.
So what do you think was that like the most work you put into a cosplay?
No, I feel like my Elisa was like a little bit more work because that was the first time I worked with like pink foam, and my friend taught me how to use like a sanding machine, and there was just so many mistakes that I made. Like Elisa's like wings, I really wanted to make them, and I wanted to make sure that it looked at least like presentable, you know. So when I got all the shapes down, I was like, all right, I'm gonna put this together. And my friend at the time told me that I could like prime it using like Elmer's glue. I did it, but it just looked so off because there were so many like air bubbles, and when I popped it, I could just peel out the entire glue, and I was like, this is not gonna work. And then so I kept thinking, I was like, and then you couldn't use, I forgot what it's called, but it's oh no, Plastidip. Yeah, Plastidip. And so I asked my friend to help me with it. He sprays it on, and the foam just starts kind of bubbling and disintegrating. And I'm like, huh, okay, new plan C at this point. And then I decided to use a Mod Podge, and I just like painted it like over and over again. And so that whole process just took a long time. And when making a cosplay, most cosplayers use patterns. I try to do that. It works 40% of the time, but I just kind of kept trying it on, drawing another pattern, putting it on, sewing more, and then just doing this and that. And it was just, it just took so much longer than Arcade Sona.
Is there a cosplay that you ultimately ended up just not liking, like your least favorite? I don't normally ask questions like that, but I'm actually curious.
Oh, no worries. I actually, okay, to be honest, I actually don't even like my Elisa.
Oh, really?
I just cosplayed. I cosplayed her one more for Evo, and then I was like, all right, we're good. But my other one would be probably Diamond from Hoseki no Kuni. I wasn't really proud of like my makeup, just because her look is very like special, because it's like white and like iridescent, and it's kind of hard for me to like conceal my eyebrows because they're black and like really dark. I'm not really good with like makeup, so I just kind of tried my best, but it just looked so weird on me. Like I looked like an alien, and I was like, all right, never doing that again.
Sorry, I started going through your Instagram because I don't know who that is, and I still don't know who it is, but it's okay.
So it's from the anime that's like with a bunch of like gems and stuff.
Gems. Apparently, I never saw that. I always associate you with, and you can tell me what you think of it. I always associate you with Xiao Yu from Tekken. Because I mean, it was pretty obvious after seeing your stuff, but you're a pretty big Tekken player, right?
I wouldn't say I'm a super big Tekken player, but as in like in the scene, but I definitely do like love Tekken. I've been playing it since Tekken 4 because my dad introduced it to me, but I actually didn't start competitively playing it until the beginning of last year.
Yeah, because before I start, I mean, I'm still bad at like all fighting games, even though it's like my favorite genre. And I just remember playing Tekken like at a family friend's house, and I was like, wait, whoa, if you press a different button, the bear turns into a panda. And that's all I knew about the game for like 10 years. And then I actually tried playing it, and I was like, oh, this is very hard because there's a whole nother plane of existence. I'm used to playing like Street Fighter or BlazBlue or something like that. But is that kind of what inspired you to start doing Twitch? Because you're also a Twitch streamer now.
Actually, yes, it did. I wanted to stream some of like my Tekken play. The thing is, I'm saving up for a PC so that my streams will look better. At the moment, I'm just streaming PS4. But besides Tekken, I like streaming like other games too. Back then, of course, I would like just like play games alone because I like them. But now, like when you're streaming, when there are people in the chat, it's kind of like playing with them in a way. So it's like really fun for me.
Yeah, I get that. Growing up, I used to like watching my friends play video games, and I think that stems from the fact that I was a younger brother, so I just liked watching people play, which is why I think I watch a lot of Twitch streamers now. I think that's like, that's a big part of the appeal of the platform. I want to do more streams, because I just do the podcast very sporadically, but I want to start streaming my art as well. But I got, I'm saving up for a graphic tablet so that I can, it'll actually look good. Have you seen those Twitch streamers that are, that do IRL streams in their cosplay?
I've seen a few,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not like I watch all the time because I mostly just watch just like gameplays.
Yeah. Is that something you would ever consider doing?
Yeah, I've thought about it before, especially if I was like playing or cosplaying from the game that I'm playing at the time, maybe like Yakuza or something.
I always wonder how a lot of Twitch cosplayers kind of build an audience, because I've seen a lot of ones who are just IRL streamers, which IRL streaming already is so nebulous to me because I don't even understand what you're supposed to do.
Oh, it's a little weird because you kind of have to keep talking. I'm not like super good at that. Every now and then when I'm like playing games and like streaming it, I'll have like my silent moments and I'm like, oh wait, I gotta talk.
Is there like, I think you've already touched on this though. In this show, I always like to go over if the person who has the, or oh my god, learn to speak, CJ. I always like to go over if the guest has any advice they'd like to give people who are younger or people who are kind of interested in that field. Do you have any more to touch on with that stuff?
For cosplay?
Yeah. Or Twitch.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, sure. The thing is, something that I've always thought about was that I believe that everyone can cosplay, but however, cosplay is not for everyone. Just because you want to do it doesn't mean you'll end up liking it. And you
Okay.
can't always force yourself just because all your friends do it. And you always have to understand what your skill level is at. For younger people, I would say, like, don't try to be, like, the character. Always do it because you like the character. And you want to show people that, you like the character. Like, when I first started out, I didn't get, like, a super good wig. I got, like, a really gross from like Party City, but I still had like the best time of my life. Don't be like intimidated by like other people. Always just try focusing on yourself, because honestly, you can't please everyone, so you might as well just do whatever you want.
That's true. That's a good way to look at it.
And don't ever just compare yourself. Will make cosplay not fun for you. If you think you're like, let's say you think that your cosplay looks great, and then you see someone else and you're like, oh, never mind, I just look awful. That just, you're not giving yourself enough credit, and that just kind of sucks. Don't feel like you have to be the best. Of course, it's nice to like look up to people, but don't always just try to chase like after that. You kind of have to build yourself up. Always just try to keep improving, because if you think you're like the best and you continue to just stay at one level, you'll never like grow your level and your level of cosplay, and like you'll always just be stuck in one place.
Do you think that that's hard to do? Because I feel like so many hobbies, I guess I keep trying to find the word of what I'd classify cosplay, and I guess I'll just use hobby for convenience. I feel like there's so many fields and so many hobbies where it's almost impossible not to compare yourself, because I feel like with the musicians I've had on the show, and even with myself with art, there's always going to be at least that one day where you just get discouraged because you're like, I can't do that.
Yeah, no, I've had many days like that. Of course, it's like impossible to completely do. Just don't keep thinking about it. Like, the more you think about it, the more like it will actually come true for you. There was one quote that I saw one time, and it said something along the lines, keep chasing your dreams until your idols become your rival, or just something until you can like be up to like that level.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, it's just, my point is, just don't expect to be from one level to the other in like one night.
Right.
That's like just something that's like really important, because it's fine to like, oh, this person, like, they did their makeup like really good. Like, tell yourself that you want to at least try to do something like that. You should at least like, try. And if you don't get to that point, that's okay. Just keep trying. There are many times where I tell myself that my makeup is just awful, and then like I'll just keep trying. And every now and then I look at my pictures from like 5 years ago, and I was like, oh my god, what is that? What was I doing? it's just so embarrassing to me.
Do you think that that mindset helps you improve though?
Of course, but don't make it like don't make that person like an enemy though.
Yeah.
Like just right off the bat, like, oh, I'm gonna be so much better than that person, because then your like mentality is to improve only to beat them out. It's not for yourself. But you should always remember that you're trying to improve, not just to beat out that person. Because what if you do beat out that person? Who's gonna know? Who's gonna care?
Right. One time, one of the times that I cosplayed, I was this really shitty Luigi because I had a plush hat and I had like this this mustache from Party City. I think I was 14 at the time, and I did not look like him at all. But there was one other Luigi at SakuraCon that year, and I was like, oh man, he has a vacuum. He's way better than me. But like he also looked like crap, and I was like, I don't know why that mattered to me at the time, but yeah.
Sometimes like when you see someone that's kind of like within like the same level, you feel like less intimidated. I actually don't think that's a bad thing, because if you were like, let's say like just when you're just someone, you're like starting out and you go to like AX where everyone busts out like their best cosplay, of course you'll feel like tiny.
Yeah. Have you ever been to Japan other than that school trip?
Yeah, I've been twice. The second time was in 2017.
Did you ever cosplay in Japan?
No.
Okay. I went once and I went to Tokyo Game Show, and the cosplay culture in Japan is a lot different and very interesting to me. This is only an assumption based off of that one event and what my friend told me. But to my understanding, like there's just like a cosplay section at events where a cosplayer, well, like basically all of them, but a cosplayer will stand in one spot and then a bunch of people will just line up in a single file line, both professional photographers and random guys with just their phone, and then they'll just like stay there all day and pose for photos.
Yeah, I actually heard something like that too, also from a friend. Like the area for cosplayers is completely separate from like attendees.
Yes.
They also can't come to the event like already dressed. Like there's a designated area to dress up. I thought that was very interesting. I also thought it was like a little bit much, but I'm pretty sure that's just the culture.
Yeah. Because I did remember there's a section where that's obviously like, you get yourself together. And then there's the area where you like stand. And it was really bizarre to see for me, because I was like, because there were some cosplayers where I was like, I want to take a photo of them, but like I feel weird standing in line, especially if there's like a professional photographer with like a good camera behind me.
Every now and then when I feel like a little intimidated, I try like really hard to just like let it by, because my mentality is like, nah, I'm never gonna see them again, it's fine. Which is why sometimes I embarrass myself in a foreign country. I kind of just let it slide within like a minute.
I wish I had that mentality. I didn't even think about the fact that I was even in a foreign country. And on the flip side of that, like the idea of like being in the position of the cosplayer, with the cosplayers who are there to promote the games, who are there at the booth, or even the booth babes, like those guys' job is to kind of stand in one spot the whole day. But like it's so weird to me that to go to Tokyo Game Show for fun dressed as I don't know, Samus, and then just stand in one spot for like the entire day. I feel like that's so strange. Is that something you'd ever think about doing?
Probably not. The thing is, when I was a kid, I oh my gosh, I was probably maybe 12 when I first started like 11 or 12. But I went through like the whole day into con in cosplay, went home in cosplay, and I was like fine. But like recently, when I like go to cons, I get tired within the first hour. So I don't think I can ever do that. Like sometimes like when I'm wearing heels, I'll walk like a little bit, and I'm like, I gotta sit down. And my friend's like, hey, can you come to the artist alley with me? I'm like, yeah, of course. I get to the artist alley and I'm like, I gotta sit down. Just like when I go to cons now, I change at a certain time. Like I probably wouldn't cosplay like after 5:30ish. But yeah, it's just I don't have that energy for that. I wish I did though. It'd be cool.
Dude, I once saw a Disney's Rapunzel who was not wearing shoes, and she was walking outside.
Oh man, was it in the blazing sun?
No, it was actually cold, and I think it rained later that day.
Oh god, that's even worse.
Yeah, dude, walking on a sidewalk in the rain with bare feet sounds horrible to me. But I was needless to say, I was super impressed. Two more major questions, and I guess I'll do this one first. What are there any like real true negatives to the cosplay scene that you'd like to warn people about who might be interested in it?
Yeah, I do. Of course, this isn't something that's always like avoidable, you know? There are going to be people that like don't like you for really dumb reasons. For me, when I see someone cosplaying the same character as me, I get happy because I'm like, "Oh shoot, we're the same fandom. This is great." And like
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like want to talk about it. But there are other people that get upset because they immediately have the thought of, oh, they think they're better than me. I remember that because one time I was cosplaying as An Takamaki from Persona 5, and I passed by another On cosplayer, and I just smiled at her, and she kind of away and kept walking. I was like, oh, okay, all right. But yeah, there's definitely like not nice people in the community.
But what does that person expect when they're going to a convention dressed as a lead character
Yeah,
from a popular game?
I kind of thought that way too, but then I just kind of like, oh, whatever, it's cool. I'll never see them again. There was another time when I dressed up as Nozomi Tojo from Love Live,
Mm-hmm.
and it was the Sweet Devil version. This is actually kind of like a funny story. So I went in like full costume, everything. After I'm like done taking pictures, I was really tired that day, so I went into the hotel midday. I was so lazy, I did not take off any part of my cosplay, and I took a nap, wig and everything. And I woke up, I look at the time, and I know that there's like a Love Live like gathering. I didn't really like care about like the pictures. I just wanted to see like some of my friends that were there. So I was like, nah, whatever. So I took off like half my cosplay. I just kept like the wig on, my dress, and like the heels, and I'm like, all right, let's boogie. I go in, I say hi to like my friends. A few days later, a friend of mine told me that someone saw me and was kind of like bashing me, like she didn't even have the full costume on, or like this was wrong, she didn't have her wings, or just something like that. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh my god, homie, I took a nap and I just came out. Like it's just there's always like a different like story. You don't know like what I was doing or what I wanted to do. Maybe what if I didn't want like the whole costume on? Like
Yeah.
how does that like affect you? You know? But you always just have to like there's always going to be like criticism whether you like it or not, so that's
Yeah.
always something that you have to for. I've had like many like comments that like I didn't like, but I kind of just like ignore it because I'm like, you don't really know me,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna see you.
I mean, for the people who don't, I mean, I feel like with people who view cosplayers when they're just at a convention and they're just there for like the spectacle of it, I feel like some people might not understand that there's a person behind the costume who already like had a day of their life happen. I mean, those are the guys who like will be like, actually, that's the wrong shade of color of that girl's hair that you're wearing, and I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it is what it is. That's kind of unavoidable, honestly.
And I want everyone to know that like don't be that person. Like honestly, what if that person like waited 3 years to cosplay that character, or what if that person like has like confidence to finally put that costume out just for you to say that.
Yeah, yeah. That actually, I think that's part of the reason. Because I said at the beginning that I always had an interest in cosplay. I think the reason I didn't continue was the same year where I was the shitty Luigi. This girl, so this, so I walked by this photographer guy who was with a group of people, and he wanted to take a picture of me, and
Mm-hmm.
this girl just kept criticizing my outfit, which I already knew was bad because it was literally like a closet cosplay that I knew didn't look like him, but I just wanted to be Luigi because I thought it was funny or something. And she would not stop harassing me about how much I didn't look like him, and I'm like, dude, leave me alone. It's like it's obvious that I don't look like him. Like I just had the hat and the mustache, and I just was like, that is gonna convey that I'm a casual Luigi cosplay. Like I think that on top of the idea that I think I don't know why this worries me. I feel like people will have a problem if I'm an anime character because my skin's too dark. I think those are the two things that always like deterred me. Although this conversation is turning me around on the idea.
Yeah, that's just always something that's hard to deal with. It's just the best thing that you can tell yourself is just you like they don't know you.
hmm
They're just judging you just for like their own entertainment. Have like showing them that you're angry will let them know that they're overpowering you. So I know it's like really hard, but it's just always like important to just like stand your ground. You can ignore them, you can tell them to stop, but like don't like let it like get to you. Like by the end of the day, we're honestly just regular people in costumes. It's honestly just there's something that I think about is it ain't that deep. It's just so stupid that people do that. just because like they're not accurate doesn't mean they don't like the series, you know. Just because you like target people that aren't like accurate doesn't mean you like the series more.
Right.
The series is not for them, it's for everyone. So like that's just so selfish, honestly.
Yeah. Honest, man, I like your insight because like you're talking about these topics in ways that I never thought about. Although I will say before I go to my next question, Dragon Ball Z is just for me, so no one else can like it. So my last question, before we reach time, we've talked a lot about a lot of kind of negative stuff, and that's a good thing because people can learn, and everything has negatives. But something I forgot to talk about and ask about that I know nothing about. Do you want to talk about what the cosplay community is like? If it's like accepting or something, or if it's bettered your life or anything? Because you've been doing it for a long time, and I'm sure you've probably met other cosplayers and stuff.
The thing that's very important about the community is that it's like honestly 50-50. If you hang out with good people, there's still like, you know, a little bit negativity. If you hang out with the bad people, that will ruin like your mentality. It's also like when I say like 50-50, it's like there are good people and there's like the bad mean that they cosplay bad. Just because someone is like an amazing cosplayer does not mean they have like the best like attitude, you know, towards people. And the thing is, something that's like really important is if you're starting out and you want more like follows and stuff, something that you shouldn't do is just hang out with like, or at least try to like hang out with like star cosplayers, because you know, just because you hang out with them doesn't mean like, you know, you're famous too, you know.
Yeah.
Don't try to do that because you're kind of putting on a fake they will like you and that more people will like you. It's really, I think that's just not a good thing, because people should like you for honestly you, not like your costume or whatever. Because I think cosplayers like shine a lot when they like kind of show a lot of their personality. A specific cosplayer I want to talk, Yasha.
I'm
Yasha
sorry.
Fluff. I'm not sure.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
I'm
You cut
sorry.
out. Oh, I said I'm sorry. You cut out. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, sure. Um, there's one of my friends. Her name is Yasha. She is like someone that I respect a lot because she's extremely like true to like everyone. I like respect her cosplays. Like I love her work, but she's like nice to everyone, and it really shows. I saw her guesting at Anime Imp this year, and my friend and I were kind of busy, but we still wanted to see her. And the second she saw, she was like, "Where were you guys?" So happy because she like just acknowledges everyone despite like, you know, her status, and I think that's just really special to have because not everyone has that. A lot of people don't like talking to like smaller cosplayers because they think they're above that, but it's really easy to go down that path because the more people that compliment you and the more people that follow you, it will get to your head. But
Right.
it's really important to stay humble and true to yourself and like your fans and your friends, because if it gets too much to you, that will affect like your personality, not as a cosplayer but like as a person too. It can definitely apply to like work too, or just like personal life,
Yeah.
because we have to remember cosplay is cosplay. Don't forget that there's reality too. You always need to surround yourself with like the good people, like your friends. Like just because suddenly you have like a lot of like people that follow you, don't forget the people that have helped you. I wouldn't be like where I'd be without my friends, honestly. Yeah, you want to surround yourself with people that will help you, like people that will answer like your questions, like, oh, how do I dye a wig? How do I work with Warbler? Stuff like that. And you have to make sure you trust those people too, because you wouldn't want to travel to other events with people you don't trust, you know? Well, I know a lot of people like party at cons. You have to make sure that there are people that like take care of you, you know?
Right.
It's just mostly, I just say like hang out with people that have good energy, support you, always let you know when something's wrong. Let's say like you kind of like throw like a small fit just because of one small problem. If your friends are like, oh, that's it's not your fault, don't worry about it, versus like, hey, that was kind of out of line, it's more important that they tell you rather than just kind of get on your good side.
Right. Yeah, I mean there's probably a lot of clout chasing and trying to use other people for clout in the cosplay world now that I'm thinking about it. I don't know. That's dumb to me. And I get it because I feel like anything that kind of has a social media element has people like that. But, you know, at the end of the day, if you're trying to use somebody for clout in the cosplay world, you know, it's not like you're the person wearing those costumes, so it's not going to mean anything. You know, it's not like you're going to get their followers.
And it's also honestly disrespectful to them too.
Yes.
Because you're trying to hang out with them just because of like their status, not the person. Yeah, that's disrespectful. And it's very selfish too, honestly.
Yeah, it honestly is. It's always every time I have a guest on and we get to this topic, I always feel bad that I asked them to be on my show. Sorry if it seems like I'm trying to use you or anything. I always have to like.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. I really appreciate the show though. It's really cool. It's an honor.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I feel like I always have to say that because I feel like literally every guest I talk about not chasing people to use them as clout, and then here I am just like using other people. Okay, so is there any last words or anything? And if not, do you want to plug all your social medias?
I guess just last words is just like just a few repeats. Always just stay true to yourself. I've lost myself before, but I'm in a way better place now. So even if you lose yourself a little bit, as long as you know what you did wrong and you try to fix it, then that's good. It's great. And always remember, it's really fun, but don't take it to heart. For my social media, I have Twitch, Instagram, Facebook, and did I say Instagram? Okay. Instagram is Kei-otic. Twitter is Kei-otic_cos. My Twitch is twitch.tv/Kei-otic99. What am I missing?
You said Facebook.
Is K-otic.
Awesome. I'm gonna put all of those in the bio when I put up the YouTube edit of this.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
I'm sorry that like I contacted you and then I took like an entire month before we actually recorded.
No, it's okay. It's oh my gosh, dude, I feel like a slave at work sometimes because I work like weird hours, and then I just started like a plushie business, so I've been doing that too.
Oh shoot!
On top of streaming, on top of school, so I'm kind of dying.
Wait, is that something you're doing? Like people can buy from you online?
Yeah, I just started it like a few weeks ago. My commissions are currently closed until Wednesday, actually.
I was like, oh shoot, we need to talk about that really quick. If you want to link me to wherever people could find that, I'll put that too. I'll probably commission you.
Sure. Just really quick about it. I just started it to make like plush heads for like my favorite like Tekken players, like their mains. Like my favorite Tekken player, Chanel. I made him an Elisa one. ADCR, I made one of him, Keihachi, and Dragunov. Yeah. It started with that, and then I was like, maybe I should make a business. And yeah, when I shared it, I had like 12 commissions just bomb me. And I'm like, oh, okay.
I did see this on your Twitter, but I didn't know you were the one making them.
Oh.
That's awesome. Okay, when you have the time, I'm going to commission you to make a Josie Rizal.
Oh, sick. You can just check my Instagram, because I actually made one, so you can check it out if you still want one. But yeah, let me know.
Yeah. Okay, and with that is the end of this episode. Follow Kei-otic Cosplay if you want to, because I think I might now. I don't know who. I had someone say Ichigo's dad once. Anyways, thanks everybody. Bye.